With the Quantification Module of LightScan 2, you'll be able to determine the unknown concentrations of your samples. But let's start by the theory. In any spectra, you'll have the information of intensity in the y-axis per wavelength in the x-axis. So, if you measure a set of standards with known concentration at a specific wavelength, higher concentrations will result in higher intensities. And that relation is linear. This is the way you build your calibration curve. So, if you have a sample with unknown concentration, you can use the calibration equation to know it. And that's quantitative analysis. So, this is the purpose of the Quantification Module from LightScan. With it, you can build a calibration that will be used in the quantification of samples with unknown concentration. Let's see how it works. Have your standards ready. Start the software and choose Quantification. To build a new calibration, click in New and it will open a new window. This is where you set the parameters for your calibration. Make sure you select your method. The procedure is exactly the same for any method. In this example, we'll select absorbance. You can add the name of your compound and must set the analysis wavelength. In this case, normally, the maximum absorbance wavelength. If you activate the bandwidth, you can choose between track peak that will return the maximum absorbance value in a given range or calc area that will return the value of the defined area. In any case, the contemplated range is centered in the selected wavelength and limited by the bandwidth value. In this example, it would be 500 nanometers plus and minus 10. One remark. For some applications, the designations compound and concentration are not ideal, so we made these fields user configurable so you can adapt them to your reality. Select the compound you want to calibrate and click in plus and add to introduce the concentrations of your standards. When you are good to go, just click Finish. Don't forget to add your units. Feel free to use the units you want. In this case, we'll use ppm. Finally, give a name to your calibration and let's measure some standards. With your absorbance setup ready, the next step is to optimize the acquisition parameters. For that, go to Spectrum module, put your reference sample in the holder, adjust the integration time, and add some averaging and smoothing if necessary. Acquire reference and dark spectra and go back to the Quantification module. Now, put your standard in the holder, select it on the table, and click on Measure Standard. Repeat this procedure for all standards. And here is your calibration curve. In the calibration curve, you can choose the regression type. Linear is the most common. Choose if you want to include 0 and if you want to force 0. And in the bottom, you can find the regression formula that will be used in the quantification calculations and the R-squared where you can evaluate how good is your curve fit. Save the calibration and you are on. Now you can quantify this specific compound in your samples, but how? As you are working in absorbance, go to the Absorbance module and click on Config. Choose the Quantified tab, and if you go to the drop-down, the calibration you just made is there. Of course, you can open another if you prefer. The table parameters are already filled, and you just need to press OK. With the sample you want to quantify in the holder, press Mark Spectrum. Here are your results. In the results column's header, you can see the calibration name, compound name, and the concentration units. Don't forget to save your results. Cheers!